But the second point I wanted to emphasize is, which some of you might have picked, is these internal contradictions in the party, which I noted. And I'm very concerned as the chairman of the region that the National Resistance Movement is a very strong party, very, very strong. It's a mass party. But the movement is being drawn into personal attacks and personal wars. And this is something we must avoid at any cost if we have got to stand the test of time. I noticed in these campaigns that people and groups were working in avoiding the structures of the party, working in silos. Working in silos. A party cannot work like this. A party must remain cohesive. And I want to say, without mincing my words, that I noted that even during this time, my sister, the Vice President, Her Excellency, retired Major Jessica Alupo, was working in isolation, in silos, camped in another area, avoided getting in contact with the Secretary General, not getting in touch with the chairman of the region, not even one call, not getting in touch with the chairman of the city where the activity is taking place. She was sometimes working even with opposition. This is very unfortunate. The members, the ministers were divided. She has caused such internal contradictions in the Teso sub-region that you now have ministers who are loyal to her and others are loyal to another camp. You have members of parliament who are working with her and others who are not working for her. This is very unfortunate. You don't do this. This is not the way the party works. This is not the way party works. You are either for NRM or you are on the other side. This is a very serious concern because these internal contradictions will weaken the party so that you have movements. You recall at one time during Tito Okello's time and Obote's time, the uncoordinated troop movement. The uncoordinated troop movement by, at that time, what Mwanga called the uncoordinated troop movement. It caused a lot of distortions. Some of you might have seen how working with the people who have been rejected by people here. And you could see the reaction of the people in Madera and Morapesur, where they actually embarrassed the vice president, people rejecting association. So to me, I want to say that without mincing my words, and some of them I will deepen internally, that these internal contradictions are alive. I'm very concerned that some people play the cards of intrigue, scheming, manipulation. And they need to be brought out to the open. The region should never be divided. During our time, we have never had two parliamentary groups. One parliamentary group on one side, another parliamentary group on one side. How do you work like that? I've been a member of parliament for a long time. How do you have two parliamentary groups in Teso? This is now the import of the politics of Usoga here, where you had allegiance to certain people. It is important that for us, we reject that position. I reject this position. I rather step aside from being a vice chairman of the region than to divide my people. That I will not accept. I rather step aside from being a member of parliament, being a chairman of the region, but I will not accept confusion in the party. Sometimes you find that they brought somebody else. They brought, for me that doesn't matter. Bring in people to say that they are going to organize the campaigns in the city. What are you talking about? You bring Sanjay Tana from Tororo. You bring him here to reorganize the campaign. What are these people doing here? You have to import somebody from far away and say that the people of Teso do not have the capacity to mobilize. This is ironical. It's unacceptable. I reject that position. You cannot cause problems in the party this way. This is where we say that if we are to build a strong party, I think we need to ensure that we focus on issues. My sister likes to get into deep challenges and focus on triviality. Even the president said it during the time of her swearing in. Said she likes getting into quarrels, petty quarrels. Petty quarrels. She wants to fight this one, fight this one. That's why you find that the politics of Katakwi is full of confusion. Once you are appointed as the vice president of a country, you are a mother of the country. Embrace everybody. I encourage my sister to learn to work like President Museveni, who works with everybody, can even talk to Kony, can even talk to people who are fighting him, embracing everybody. But these trivial wars, trivialities, and petty politics will not help this region and will not help the country. I will deepen this at an appropriate time, and I call upon the president to address these issues because they caused a lot of problems for us on the ground. And people know it. Even you, the press, were talking about it. I saw you trying to attempt to ask questions. But my main thing was to focus on winning the elections first, which we have done. We work together, win the elections first, which we have done. Now that the matter is behind us, we can now unpack these matters. And I want to appeal to you, my comrades, and the people of Uganda and my people of Teso. First of all, I want to thank and congratulate all the people of Soroti City for having confidence to Honorable Albert Ariko. I want to appeal to the population now to go back and work, concentrate on your work. I want to call upon the region, now the rains are starting to come, concentrate on agriculture, concentrate on production, and I want to state very clearly in my communication that we are now going to consolidate the strength of the party in the region. We're going to work harder and to ensure that internal cohesion is maintained. And I've told the chairman here that at an appropriate time, we're going to call again a much wider workshop to walk people through what you call revolutionary methods of work. Because the National Resistance Movement is a revolutionary party. And we want to ensure that as we move aside, the youth who are coming in know exactly and focus on the big picture. We are now talking about East African political integration. The cornerstone of the National Resistance Movement, ideological point number 2 of Pan-Africanism. So we are looking at a bigger picture. Some people are looking at smaller pictures. That's not the way to go. And that's not the way we build a country. I've been in politics much longer than most of these people here. And I'm a very mature person. I have never in my time of politics come out like this. But I've come out purely because I see a problem that is starting to creep in Teso. and is getting very, very critical. At one point, we had a difference between the Kumam and the Iteso, which the president resolved. And I want to tell you that that matter now is behind us. But this matter has never had it used to be there during the time of the late Atekere Jalu and Colonel William Omaria. You remember that politics? But now it is starting to come again. We want to avoid, the president has given us the opportunity and had given the region number 2 in the country. We should be proud of that. We are now number 3 in the country. We should be proud of that. I am the national vice chairman of the party. We should be proud of that. But the moment we start fighting as leaders in the region, we're embarrassing the president, we're embarrassing the people, and putting the region into a very difficult position. And this will be very difficult to cure, because it will live as long as those divisions exist, which had emerged in Busoga. You remember that politics in Busoga? This will not allow to manifest in Teso. So, members of the press, I thought I would make that statement to you and also assure you that we will talk about it at an appropriate time. We will discuss it. But I am known now to be telling the truth. And I'm not going to sweep anything under the carpet. We have a problem and we must deal with it. We have a saying in one of the African proverbs that if you have a sickness in the house, maybe a grass-thatched house, and you keep it inside and you don't talk about it, the neighbors will be woken up one day by wailing. Never keep a sickness inside, because it will manifest into a more difficult matter to deal with. And to me, this is a matter I must bring out in the open. The deep aspects of it, I will address them in the right fora. But it's important, now that all of you are picked, to know that these elections here, first of all, of my brother Albert Ariko, drew in the entire country. And that's why you note that, as I said earlier, never has it occurred before where Colonel Kiza Besigye and Bobby Wine and the others, Adias Rukago, have shared a platform. This has never happened. That tells you that this was the Soroti City East was the confluence of the national political dynamics. And I want to hasten to add that these internal contradictions notwithstanding, we will overcome. Because, as I've stated very clearly, that open methods of work are better. But these divisions, if they are not addressed, are the ones that create and permeate to the population and create a political divide. And that's why I say that reconciliation, avoidance of cliques are not anti-revolutionary. And if you have had a word of Chipingamis, that should not be what we, as a national movement, embrace. And I have a duty as the chairman of the region to canvass votes for Ariko. It's my duty. And being the team leader, and in accordance with the party dictate, we have a constitution. It is the chairman of the region that has got the overriding function in functions like this. And that's why you find that everybody has been given within the constitutional framework. You have got the executive, which is led by the president and his entire government. You have got the legislature, which is led by the speaker as an arm of government. And nobody can go in and superintend and supervise the speaker. It's supposed to be independent. The same with the judiciary. Now, when it comes to the national resistance movement, which midwives government, the supreme organ, the supreme body of governance in this country is the National Resistance Movement. We have a social contract between the party and the people. And that social contract is what we need to concentrate on, what you call the manifesto. That manifesto superintends and gives us a work plan for the next 5 years. And that's what we are elected to do. It will therefore be frivolous and becoming and superfluous for anybody to undermine these structures, to undermine this well-being that has been clearly laid out. It has been very clearly laid out, the roles, the mission, the strategy, methods of work. And that's why I want to say very clearly, it is the methods of work which need to be understood in order to perfect political governance in this country. And these were not party differences, individual differences, ego. Ego must be avoided. Be humble, be humble, be humble. Jesus, who descended to heaven, I've never been there. Maybe one day I will visit there. But he's seated on the right-hand side of our Lord, the Lord Almighty, who was a very humble man when he was here. It is important that people learn the humility in governance. Humility is a virtue. And that's why we find that President Museveni has remained a very humble man. And even when things are very hot, he puts his head in the deep freezer and cools down. That's what leadership is all about. And learning to be forgiving, learning to be embracive. The moment you are sent to a certain leadership level in a country, fit into those shoes. If the shoes become too big for you, then you're wearing the wrong shoes.